Hi, let's review sentence structure. The sentence is the building block of our essays. In order to write good papers and to communicate effectively, you have to be able to write clear sentences. That means that no matter how complicated or how long of a project you're working on, you should always pay attention to your sentences. Remember that in order to have a complete sentence, you must have 5 basic things. Each sentence needs to have the following items. First, we want to make sure that a complete sentence has capitalization. This means that you capitalize the first letter. As in, the student submitted their paper on time. The first letter, the, of the first word, in this case the word the, is capitalized. This is a pretty easy item to look for. You just have to make sure that you've capitalized the first letter. The second element is also pretty easy. You want to make sure that you have end punctuation. There are 3 types of end punctuation. You can use a period, which is what we use most of the time, a question mark, which you use when asking a direct question, or an exclamation mark, which we use sparingly in academic writing, which you can use to show emotion. For example, in the sentence, when is the paper due? We've capitalized the first word and we've put a question mark at the end because it is asking a question. The third element the complete sentence needs is the subject. Who or what? For example, in the sentence, the paper is due by noon. We still have the capital letter at the beginning, the period at the end, and we have the subject. That's a noun or a pronoun. In this case, the paper. The sentence is about the paper. Similarly, it needs to have a predicate. That will be your verb, your action or state of being. For example, in the sentence, I turned in my paper already, we have our capitalization at the beginning, we have end punctuation, we have a subject, I, and a predicate, turned. What did I do? I turned in my paper. So we have that action. So far, all of these are pretty easy to check for. And the final item is a complete thought. This is the one where most people get into trouble. For example, even though I had to work late, I still turned in my paper on time. This is a complete thought. And it has capitalization, end punctuation, subject, and predicate. Now notice that these are the only 5 things you need in order to have a complete sentence. Nowhere does it say length. You can have very short sentences that are complete because it has all of these 5 sentences, and very long sentences that are incomplete because they don't have all of these. For example, I did it. That's 3 words, but it's a complete sentence because it has capitalization, end punctuation, a subject, a predicate, and a complete thought. This sentence looks much longer. Despite having 5 years of experience working as a lifeguard at a community pool during the summers as a high school and college student. However, it is not a complete sentence. We have capitalization and in punctuation, but we do not have a subject, and we do not have a complete thought. Who has worked 5 years? What are they doing? Despite that, what happened? We don't know. This is not a complete sentence. So remember that it's not about length, it's about keeping in mind that you have these 5 things. In your own writing, it can help to read your papers out loud. You'll often be able to hear if something sounds incomplete or wrong, even if you can't see it. And if you're not sure, slow down and check if your sentence has those 5 key elements: capitalization, into punctuation, a subject, a predicate, and a complete thought. Your sentence can be simple or complicated. It can have lots of elements added to it, but it needs to always have those 5 core elements in order to be a complete sentence. Once you've gotten used to looking for complete sentences, you can add all types of variety by adding extra information, combining sentences, or adding other clauses in order to add variety to your writing.